Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. We have started a discussion on Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The first thing that arises is the ba of Bismillah. Now, ba is what we would call a preposition in the Arabic language. It is a word that is used with nouns to talk about the relationship of that noun to something else. So when we say Bismillah with the name of Allah, other examples of these prepositions, also called huruf al-jar, like ala, on top of, and min, from, ila, towards, and so on and so forth. They show the relationship of that noun to something else. Now, when we say Bismillah, the word ba itself has many usages. It has over a dozen usages in the Arabic language. In the primary books of Arabic, 12 are given. 12 usages of this word, of this letter, are given. And then in the advanced books, there are many, many more. So, when we say with the name of Allah, or some people will say in the name of Allah, what exactly are we saying? What does it mean with the name of Allah, or in the name of Allah? So, what we are saying through this ba is that whatever I'm about to do, I want to begin it with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want the blessings of the name of Allah to remain with me as long as I am doing that act. So two things. One is to begin taking the name of Allah with me. I want to begin taking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with me, and I want the blessing of that name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me in whatever it is I'm going to do, as long as I'm doing it. This is a very crude and simple explanation of what is mentioned in many, many books. Okay, so that is ba. Then we have ism. The next word is ism. Ism means that word which is used to represent something or someone in this context. In this context. In the purely grammatical context, ism refers to any word which gives a meaning by itself, and it doesn't refer to any tense, past, present, or future. It's just a noun. That's the literal definition of it. But here when we say the name of Allah, we are referring to that name of Allah which is representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. That name which refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the origin of the word ism is a very interesting discussion in the Arabic literature, because there were two major schools of Arabic grammar. There was the school out of Basra, and there was the school out of Kufa. These were two major schools of Arabic grammar, and then these became two, basically, madhabs in the language. So there was the Kufan approach and the Basran approach. So according to the scholars of Basra, the origin of ism is from the word or the verb sama yasmu. And sama means for something to rise. That's why as-sama is used for the sky, something that is high. And they say that an ism is always higher than the other types of words in the Arabic language. It's higher than a harf, it's higher than a fi'l, it's higher than words that are used for linking words together, and it's higher than verbs. Ism is the main thing. So because it is so high, it is called ism, and then they'll say that the origin of this, it was actually simwun, and the waw was removed, and to replace it, a hamza was added in the beginning, it became ismun. This is one approach to understanding the word ism. The other school, the Kufan school, said no, it is not derived from sama yasmu, sumuwan, rather it is derived from wasama yasimu. And wasama yasimu, it means to be an indication, a sign of something. So, wasim, for example, or wisam, these are things that are indicative of something. It is an indicator of something. And of course, it has other meanings. It has the meaning of beauty as well. So they said the word ism was actually wism, and the waw was changed into a hamza, became ism. So this is a discussion and a debate that is centuries old. But both lend some insight into what we are actually saying when we say the word ism. We say Bismillah, we all say Bismillah in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are using a word that is going to describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't say Billah. Somebody could ask the question that why don't we just say Billahir Rahmanir Rahim? I'm starting with Allah. Well, you can't really start with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla is not someone that you can include and take along with you whenever you want. Rather, you can appeal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can appeal to Allah. So when we say, I'm starting with the name of Allah, it means I'm going to call upon Allah to help me in this matter. And it's much more appropriate, it makes much more sense. Otherwise, if we were to say Billah, then that ba could not mean the ba of taking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ba of taking Allah along with us. Rather, it would be the ba of qasam. It would be more like, I swear by Allah, Billahil Azim, Billahir Rahmanir Rahim. It would be an oath. So the word ism here is playing a very major role. And when we are saying, I am starting with the name of Allah, we are invoking Allah. Oh Allah, I am asking you to include your mercy, your assistance, and all those things that I need, the blessings, along with this act. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ himself used to use this very, very frequently. In fact, in the hadith of Nasa'i, he ﷺ says that if you're traveling and the animal you're riding on, it stumbles. You're riding on an animal and it stumbles, then don't curse shaitan at that time. So the Arabs used to say, Ta'asa shaitan, may shaitan be ruined. Don't curse shaitan at that time, because when you do that, it makes him happy. فَإِنَّهُ يَتَعَاظَمُ حَتَّى يَكُونَ مِثْلُ الْبَيْتِ. He gets bigger, larger, more and more and more and more and more powerful, until he becomes like the size of a house, a mansion. Rather, instead you should say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Instead you should say Bismillah. When shaitan hears the name of Allah, he gets smaller and smaller and smaller, حَتَّى يَصِيرَ مِثْلَ الدُّبَابِ, till he becomes like a fly. You just flick him off. So shaitan is going to use every opportunity in our life to make us negligent of Allah, make us forgetful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he uses that against us every single time. We are going to counter that by taking the name of Allah and the name of Allah, remembering the name of Allah. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. Remembering the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give us access to all of the treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a brief discussion on ism. Inshallah we'll carry on with this tomorrow. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad. فتهدي الضياء لها